Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video I wanted to go over a few baits and the ideals behind the baits and what I discovered when using them. First of all, we're going to look at the Carolina rig, and what you have is a bobber stop, sinker, and some people do a bobber stop, some don't. I do. Then you got a bead, then you got a swivel, then you got line, then the bait and the hook. And you want to do, depending on the hook size, it depends on the bait size. This right here, what we have is a brush hog, and I usually dye the tail. I usually dye it either chartreuse or a lime, and sometimes you might want to dye just the tips of it orange or red, and there's a reason for that. And what I discovered about the bait, I thought, what does that actually look like in the water? Because in the pack, it doesn't really make sense. And what we're talking about is like a zoom pumpkin. I use pumpkin a lot because this, when I explain this to you, you're going to understand it. The pumpkin color, I was using it primarily the most. And I thought, what does that actually look like? Especially when I put lime or chartreuse on the tail. So I thought, now, it doesn't make sense to me what that bait looks like at all. Because in the pack, it don't look like anything that swims, and when you put it on the hook, it doesn't make sense, right? If you've used it. So one day I was fishing by myself, and I got hung in a limb close to the bank. So I went to the bank real easy with the trolling motor, and I looked down, and bluegill are running everywhere, and they're about 3-4 inches long. And I just happened to be throwing a brush hog on a Carolina rig. And I thought, now what? I'm going to see what this looks like compared to those bluegill. And when I untangled that brush hog and flipped it back in the water and let it follow those bluegill down, I couldn't believe it. It looked exactly like a bluegill cruising along the bottom, or right above the bottom. And they're nosing down, so that's exactly what the bait was doing. And what the sinker does, when it hits the bottom, it's pulling that bait down. And it looks like a bluegill kind of cruising along the bottom looking for something to feed. Now, what is the mortal enemy of a largemouth or a smallmouth bass, any bass species? It's a bluegill, because they come in and feed on their eggs and their young. And then it made sense to me what that looks like and what it mimics. So that's what I wanted to pass on to you. That's what that bait does and what it looks like. It looks like a bluegill either trying to feed on their nest, or they like to feed on bluegill, so there's a free meal when it swims by. And that's what it kind of looks like. The other bait I wanted to show you, and there's going to be two different companies we're going to look at. This one here is a missile D-bomb, and it's an incredibly good bait. It's got ribs in it, so it kind of, it makes vibration when it comes through the water, and it really fires those fish up. Well, this also mimics the bluegill, especially when they're nesting. And so the way I rig it up, I don't generally Carolina rig it. I put a sinker, and I let the sinker go up and down the line. And what happens is when you throw just a sinker, a hook, and that bait in the water, that sinker sinks down very quickly toward the bottom. And when it does, that allows that bait to swim slowly down. And as it's cruising down real slow, it kind of looks like a bluegill. And I looked at it in the water, and that's what it looks like. It looks like a bluegill nonchalantly swimming along. And the bass looks at it and goes, there's an easy target. And he feeds on it. And the other bait that is in mind of the missile D-bomb is the Innovations, and this one is the Smalley beaver or the regular size beaver, either one. And it's an incredible bait. I'm going to pull one out of the pack here and show you if you've never seen one. It looks a lot like the missile D-bomb, and it comes in a variety of colors. And he's going to zoom in on it here a little bit. And this has got a little bit of purple and kind of a chartreusey green. And that mimics bluegill as well. And so I use it both ways. I use it Carolina rigging and with just a sinker and a hook. And I thought I'd pass that information on to you. Remember, when you're throwing these baits in the water, you're trying to mimic something that they're feeding on. And those two setups looks like bluegill cruising along the bottom, especially when the bass are nesting. They absolutely cannot stand a bluegill around their nest at all. And that's why that time of year, especially, you can catch a lot of fish Carolina rigging or just dropping a missile D-bomb or the beaver down there around their nests. But it works, those baits work all year, and there's a reason for that, because it does look like bluegill. Thought I'd pass that information on to you. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel if you like it. I appreciate all the comments I get. I really do. And I try to answer everybody that has sent comments to me. I've tried to answer everybody, and I think I have so far to this point. I hope you're enjoying all the video content that I'm putting out. I'm trying my best, and I'm learning to edit better. So I think the content's getting a little bit better as I go along. Have a great day.